This is the Freeheel Life podcast number 26. I'm your host, Josh Madsen, coming at you from the Freeheel Life shop in Salt Lake City, Utah. Welcome back for another edition of the show, everyone. And I'm super pumped today because I'm going to be joined by the OG Freeheel Life crew, and we're going to be bringing our old buddy, old Alex LeBlanc, back today and to meet up with me, Taylor Johnson, and Ashley Berkowitz. So it's going to be super fun today. Just kind of a quick intro to this is when I opened the Freeheel Life shop back in 2014, it was me and Ashley working here, and Taylor showed up a little later that first year. And then Alex eventually joined the family the year after and started ski teching for us. And I'm sure, I don't know if we're going to get into it today, but Alex, if you've seen any of the paint on the walls or random walls that have been built here, it's probably some random project that I made Alex do. So everyone thank him for that when you see him next time in your lifetime. But like I've always said, Freeheel Life is probably the great Telemark experiment, and these guys were the first to really put it on the line with me and get this place up and running. And there's definitely others that are part of this tight family and story, but this is the core four, and they definitely have a special place in my heart. And so I want to welcome all you guys to the podcast together. This is the first time we've done this, so hello, everyone.
Bonjour.
Bonjour.
Hola.
Great.
Good to
And this is Telly Tay checking in on the third mic.
I love it. Yeah, you're a little delayed on that time, dude. So we're the whole thing having everybody together is today we are going to sort of relive our adventure going to the Black Shoes Telemark Festival in Tignes, France, back in 2017. And before I do that, I'll give a little intro on kind of how that all came about. But before that, since we haven't had Alex on the show, I kind of wanted to let Alex tell us a little bit about his Telemark history. When did you start telling, dude? How did that all come about?
So when I was, a young kid, I had been skiing since I was, 5 years old, and eventually got into snowboarding when I was about 10. And I was out snowboarding at Snowbird one day with my uncle Danny Campbell, and he was a tele skier, and they dropped the rope on Mineral Basin, and we watched him rip a sick line. And ever since I saw that, I always wanted to telly. So in about 2013, I started building skis at DPS, and found a set of BD push boots and some G3 Targas, and that's where it all started.
I love that, dude. That's crazy. So you only tellied for a year before you started working here, or a year, 2 years before, I guess?
1 year.
Jeez, that's crazy, dude. I guess I didn't know that.
Mm-hmm.
I just thought you were a lifer.
Yeah, you picked it up quick when you started working there and we first met.
Yeah.
And, we're taking laps up at Alta mostly. Like, I don't know, it surprised me that it was a second year telly.
Right. I mean, it's one of those things where, I figured it out, and I'm still trying to figure it out. So
It's an unmasterable turn, man.
yeah.
I didn't know you were a snowboarder too. So you went snowboard to telly?
Yeah. So I snowboarded for about 3 years and broke my collarbone. And then after I saw my Uncle Dan's telly, I got back into skiing because I was like, oh, I gotta get better at alpine skiing before I can telly. So I did that, and yeah, just kind of how it went.
Oh, that's funny. Very cool. Radical. Well, I just wanted to get I know we've kind of done the background on everybody else, so I thought I'd get a little history in there for those of you that have not met Mr. LeBlanc, who's now living in, how's New Mexico, dude? Are you digging it?
It's amazing. I love it.
Nice.
I'm in The Sangre de Cristos, the Southern Sangres, the very most southern Rockies.
Yeah, it looks like all the snow's gone. Is it? Or maybe not. Maybe
there's
not
actually,
in the high zone. Or...
Yeah, up high, there's still lots of snow, some good skiing to be had, but I am focused on bikes right now.
Yeah, totally. Are the bike trails up and running already?
Yeah, I am. My debut of bike patrolling is tomorrow. I've been
sweet
setting up the mountain, chopping down trees, yada yada yada.
Ready to go.
Yep.
Are you guys like open
awesome, dude.
fully? And you're down at Angel Fire, right?
Yeah, Angel Fire, New Mexico.
Are the bike operations like fully open right now with everything?
They're gonna open it tomorrow with a lot of different social distancing protocols, whatever you want.
I hadn't thought about the mountain bike thing. That's what I'm kind of wondering with like where we'll be at in the fall. Like how do you know?
We're kind of leading the charge. My patrol manager wrote a whole CSP of how we're gonna do it and all that. So.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah, I was kind of wondering like how you can identify who you can sit on a lift with and who you cannot. So that would be... I
cannot ride the lift with anybody.
You have to ride solo?
Yep.
Oh, great. Yeah, that's kind of what I was wondering. Like if you had like a household person.
Right.
Have like
and as far as guests go, it's you can only ride it with who you came with.
Yeah, there you go.
No, makes sense.
Yeah, that's kind of how it's going at the golf course too with carts. Is we just finally got now you can ride in the same household, but people were just walking for about 6 weeks.
Yeah, everybody actually got in shape.
I mean, I prefer walking. I'm walking all the time.
Yeah,
might as well do some hiking while I'm chasing a little white ball around.
Yeah, congratulations to you too on your hole-in-one since that happened
Thank you.
the last podcast.
Yeah, that was fun. It was 8-iron, 169 yards, little downwind.
169 yards. You had a hole-in-one. Jeez.
Yeah, dude. It's not archery. Well, it's kind of like archery, but it's more stretched out.
What was that, number 2 or 3?
Number 3 at Nibley Park.
Oh, wow.
The little 9-hole that I've been working, but I don't know. Cooper and I have been playing a bunch of golf, and I'm doing online school right now, so it's not bad. Play golf when the sun's up and do homework when the sun goes down.
That's pretty amazing. I love that. Ash, I guess, are you anything going on in your life that's great since the last podcast you were on?
Well, that's a great question.
Are you back
I
spin
planted
class?
some plants. That's kind of exciting.
You planted plants? Really? You planted plants?
Planted like a bunch of plants down south.
Like veggies for a garden or just like
actually,
cactus?
Yeah, like a bunch of Actually, no cactus.
It's in the desert.
Cactus
I don't know.
are natural. No, the cactus are already there. So instead, planted flowers, some lavender, and then actually like a whole garden of stuff like peppers and mint and cilantro and some squash and and then I finally got myself a new money tree as well for my house, not for the desert.
I don't know what that is.
It's like the kind of tree that has a twisty no, it's just like, it's like a house plant.
I could use some money.
No, I think it's called a Chinese money tree, and I think it's supposed to be some lucky, maybe like bamboo type of thing or something, but you've probably seen one because the trunk like twists. There's like multiple trunks and they twist, and then it has like green leaves.
Oh, that'll be cool.
Yeah, so I think they're super cool looking, and I had one like 2 years ago, and that summer I basically left for like 2 months and drove around the entire country pretty much, and apparently like even plants that don't need a lot of water, they will die if you don't water them for 2 months. So that when I came home, that plant was dead, and I wanted a new one ever since. But then like I usually get a lot of my plants when I make my like semi-annual trips to IKEA, and they didn't have them anymore. And then I found one.
Well, if you can handle the dogs, I think you can handle the plants.
Yeah, I'm gonna do better this time, and like
keep the dogs alive, like
get somebody to water it if I'm not here. Other than that, yeah, I actually did go back to spin, which was actually kind of a little weird under the current circumstances because
How many people did they let in the stadium?
They're distancing, right? Like there's guidelines for gyms and stuff like that here in Utah, just like probably everywhere else that's reopening stuff slowly. And so there's only like 20 bikes in the giant room that normally has like 40, and they're all 6 feet or more apart. But let's just be real here. Like that's not doing anything. That's just doing absolutely nothing. You are breathing on everybody. So honestly, like you are 100% taking your chances and hoping for the best with that one, because if there is one person in that room, then everyone there's your super spreader. So,
the whole class is going down.
Yeah. So honestly, like, yeah, I mean, it was kind of fun to go back just because they kicked my ass, and see my friends that I haven't seen for 2.5 months. But other than that, I'm kind of like, maybe gonna wait a little bit on that and just continue riding bikes in the desert instead.
Yeah.
But yeah,
well, I'm glad
making the most of the pandemic.
I'm glad everybody's staying healthy. That's good.
Yes.
It's good to catch up. Thanks to everybody that's listening to let us. We're actually we actually are catching up right now. So this is
we
good.
haven't talked in a while.
Yeah.
But that
Thanks for listening, everybody.
shop.
Thanks for your support.
No, I was kind of thinking about it because I was talking to Pierre from M Equipment this morning, and this is kind of a good. I was thinking about that this morning because he's the one who actually invited us over to Black Shoes, and talking to him about it kind of got me warmed up for talking today because they're kind of in the same boat. I think he can only go like 65 miles like out from his home, so like none of them were able to go skiing, and they were all itching. So but so like I was saying earlier, everyone, we kind of, because Black Shoes is a festival that we went to the 25th annual one back in 2017, and kind of how that all came about was from Pierre Moyad, who owns the M Equipment, which is a binding manufacturer outside of Marseille, France, and they just at the time of recording this podcast, the Black Shoes Festival would have happened. What is it, guys? Is it like last weekend in April usually? Is that right?
Last weekend in April, yeah.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So they did kind of a little online gathering in the Black Shoes Facebook group last weekend, was that 2 weekends ago? I can't even remember.
2 weekends ago.
Yeah, 2 weekends ago, and that was pretty cool. And I think, Tay reached out to me and was kind of like, "Hey, it'd be cool to kind of talk about this." So here we are. But I think we'd been working for a couple years together, and then Pierre called us up and said, "Hey, would you guys like to come to this French Telemark festival at the end of the season?" And it was like literally, I think the week or two after we close, because we usually close around the 20th, 15th or 20th of April, and in Salt Lake, and then we were going to head over. And I don't remember, did you guys know much about the festival? I don't think I knew much about the festival before we went.
I had no idea.
We did some research and we're getting stoked, but we didn't really know anything. Like it was a big mystery, and it turned out to be an amazing trip. So
yeah.
Well, I mean, it was definitely exciting, knowing that we were going to be going, because Josh likes to tell stories. If you guys haven't figured that out, being at the shop, but Alex and I would always, hear these cool stories of all this travel that Josh had done, and you're 5,000 miles away from home, and you might speak a different language, but you have that common bond of Telemark, and that was super exciting for me because I had never traveled outside of the country, so it was kind of a first on all fronts. But like going with you three, it was definitely comforting knowing like you guys had traveled before, and Alex and I had skied a bunch together. It was super exciting. Definitely one of the best trips of my life, and totally changed perspective on a lot of things in our tele world.
Yeah, that was it. That's cool. And Al, did you go out of the country, or was that your first time?
I had been out of the country. I had been to Costa Rica, and I went up to I did that road trip with Benoit
Oh my
up to
god,
Canada.
I totally forgot about that. That's it. That's a podcast. We should get Benoit and you to recount your
definitely.
adventure.
That's needed. I just want that for myself. Please do that episode.
Yeah.
He wouldn't let me drive.
Oh yeah, so you just hung out in the passenger seat
You
that
just
whole
drank
time.
beers all day.
That's so funny. I was shout out to you, Benoit. I don't know if you listen. We got to get him on here one day. But he Benoit's from the Worst Crew from Switzerland. But he guess I wouldn't call it intern. He volunteered because he's probably smarter than.
He was.
He's very highly
He
educated.
implemented a couple nice spreadsheet programs for us.
Yeah,
He's
totally.
Swiss.
Yeah, no, exactly.
That was so amazing. Like when we went to the Westerner.
Oh yeah,
Do you remember that?
Because he wanted a bull ride.
Yeah, he wanted to do all of the, American things, like go to the basketball game. So we took him to the Utah Jazz game, and they just so happened to be playing my Phoenix Suns, diehard Suns fan since, the 90s. And
Benoit took me to the monster truck rally.
Yeah.
I remember that.
So we did like monster trucks, cowboys, like all the most stereotypical American
you guys
things.
probably all have a cowboy bar somewhere near you, and like the mechanical bull. We had to go there and do that. And
well,
that was so good.
So just to all of our European friends out there is, if you come to Salt Lake to visit us, we will show you a good time. And if you really want. There's other cool things in America besides monster truck rallies and riding mechanical bulls, just in case you want to know.
We'll give you the full experience, the stereotypical and the not so stereotypical.
Yeah.
You can have it all.
Yeah, that is a funny. I found a picture of Benoit. I don't know who was around, but I made him drink some Pendleton whiskey when he first got here, and he was not having it. I was like,
I didn't want to party.
Yeah,
I didn't want to live the Freeheel life.
I handed him. Yeah, I think Tay, you were there, were you? I think I handed him the bottle, and I was like, "Here, have a swig," and he's like, "Wait, what?" And I think you said something like that. You're like, "You're living the Freeheel life now, bro."
It's like a Friday night after a good week at the shop. It's like, reward yourself.
Yeah, exactly.
Take a shot of whiskey.
All right, sidetrack. So yeah, okay. So Al had a passport. Tay's first time out of the country. We fly over to flying to Paris into
Charles de Gaulle.
Yep. Took the train. We actually took.
Oh yeah, I took the train.
We took that train to Marseille. Remember, and. Basically got down to Marseille, which is on the water and not by the mountains, but that's where we met up with Pierre, and it was definitely like pretty cold because it hadn't warmed up yet, but we kind of hung out in Marseille for a day or two, and then
it was fun in Marseille to kind of do some tourist things right off the bat. We explored the city, rode bikes down by the Mediterranean Sea.
Yeah, we went to the Mediterranean Sea. Like that was
pretty awesome. Yeah, and
Alex
actually
jumped one of the rental bikes.
Oh yeah, that's right. I forgot about the rental bikes, and then
Well, I remember we actually walked down to the beach. It was like a mile from where we were staying, and then we found the bikes. And a little spot and had a beer, and it was too cold to get in the water, but I remember it was beautiful for sure.
Yeah, that was pretty cool. Yeah, I forgot the bikes on that trip ended up being pretty cool because they had them in Paris too. Remember we had
right.
That was so fun.
Yeah, it was like we were in Tour de France.
If you go to Paris, ride the bikes. Like, don't give a shit. Oh, sorry, I don't remember if we swear or not.
After the Dayberry podcast, we have to put explicit on the.
Okay, perfect. Okay, so that was one word.
He wasn't that bad.
No, but yeah, if you go to Paris, ride the bikes. Don't care if you're like a tourist, XYZ, whatever. It was so fun. Like the best way to see the city.
Yeah, and that was cool, like kicking it off in Marseille because we got to meet some Telemark skiers that lived near there, and we stayed with. I forget what her name was. I don't know if you guys remember, but Pierre had introduced us to the one Telemark skier, and then I think it was that boat
Yannick.
picture. Yannick. Yeah, and we went and had
wine and cheese.
Yeah, but you remember that was the first time we had the drink that became the guys that dressed up like the
Oh, it's not Genepi. It's
Yeah, it's not. That's what I was.
Renault. It's Renault or something like that. I can't remember, but it's me and Taylor got these white like fedora hats of that.
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I remember
Totally.
that.
I have that somewhere still. I still dig up that hat.
Oh
Wear it
my
at the
gosh.
shop.
Yeah. Well, I feel like that was kind of like hanging out for a couple of days. That kind of got us acclimated to, kind of some of the French culture and some of the food, and we got to go to the M equipment. And then it was like the best part about this trip is that Pierre decided to drive us around, and I think that was pretty crazy when you think about it. I mean, we basically
seriously.
just show up, and he decided to chauffeur us around, and
Big thanks to Pierre. Made that trip easy. Pick us up at the train station and drive us to the mountains.
Yeah. And so we drive up from Marseille. He takes us all the way up to Tignes, which is a resort in France. And basically from that point, we get introduced that we show up to the Tignes space, which was kind of this, at the base of the mountain, there was almost like I don't want to say like a convention center, but kind of like a ballroom or a meeting
Just like
room.
a multi-purpose hall type of.
There you go. We show up, and this is like the registration day. Is we go in, and all of a sudden you kind of meet everybody, and I thought that was kind of memorable for me too, because I hadn't been to a festival where you kind of sort of check in like that, and I felt like, didn't we get like a little kit? You like sign up. Yeah, what was
They
that?
give you a kit with some swag and
wristbands for food and drink.
Yeah, there's wine, and they had some beers, and
There was always wine, so much wine.
Yeah. So
There was never not.
Let me
wine.
recap
The second
arriving
we
in
stepped in
Tignes.
there.
Yeah, give me
The second we left.
hop in when I'm missing, because I don't let me blow through the fun stuff, you guys.
So we were driving, a couple hours up to the Alps, and Alex and I are looking out the window the whole time. Well, we all were looking out the window the whole time. Just massive mountain range, massive. Like, here in Salt Lake, we got the Wasatch, and it's great little ski range, but it's tiny in comparison. Like, so even just driving there, my mind is blown. And then we start getting up the mountain passes, and everywhere you look is just the steepest, gnarliest face you've ever seen. And, all the peaks are above alpine, so no trees and just big gnarly ice and snow and rocks. And we pull into Tignes, and Tignes it's kind of like a little city almost, with as many hotels and shops. And we were there in the end of the season, but I could just imagine the population at the base of the resort would be big. How many hotels do you think there were there? Like 10 hotels at each of the 3 bases.
Yeah, it was like a big little like resort town, I guess.
It was to me it was huge. Like between Tignes and Val d'Isere, there's 80 plus lifts, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that's insane. It's like home at Alta, we ski like 4 lifts.
Yeah, I guess I didn't think about that. Like, if you'd never been
to me, it was just
European,
mind blowing of how big the Alps resorts were.
Yeah, no, that's true. That does give it kind of some perspective.
Pull up to the teen space for this check-in, and we're looking across the Touf, this line with right off, one left right up, and then you can drop,
like
these huge
20 different
couloirs,
chutes.
like 20 different couloirs, and we're like, first thing we're like, we want to ski those.
That actually was fun. That was like, that's right, because you pointed them out. I remember when we got there, and you guys were like, you guys were like, we're gonna ski those.
Dude, my mind was blown. Like, it's like I'd never seen mountains like that. And I mean, you see them in the movies, but it was so impressive. I was just like, it was insane how big the resort is there.
Yeah. No. Yeah. So like the whole, and I guess I had forgotten about that, like seeing the Touf and then kind of doing the check-in. I was trying to look at some photos to jog memory too, because it seems like there was so much. I mean, that's when we first met everybody too, was that check-in, and we met. I'm pretty sure that's when we met Kanar, who Kanar recently passed away this season, but he was the organizer and the guy who started this. And I always think what I thought was cool that we learned, that I'll always remember, is that Kanar had started this little gathering at the end of the season, so that it was like Teen was open 1 week later, I think. And so like all the people from the region would come to Teen at the end of their season a week later. And that's kind of how the Black Shoes Festival started, from my understanding. So I always thought that was super cool. And I'm pretty sure, correct me if I'm wrong, you guys, I'm pretty sure, as far as we knew when we got there, we were the first Americans to go in 25 years. Am I making that up?
Yeah, that's what he told us. I mean,
that's what we were told, and actually that was Kanar's last Black Shoes, because he didn't make it to the 26th either.
Oh, really? That was his last one?
Yeah, because he was sick. When me and Rachel went as well.
No way.
Oh man, I'm so glad I got to meet him. Though,
it was he was an awesome dude. He didn't speak much English, but you didn't really have to talk to him. You could just look him in the eye, and you both knew what was up.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he was very welcoming to us, and I guess the other amazing part about him organizing this event for 25 years, by the time we got there for the 25th year, there was over 500 Telemark skiers there that weekend, and to me that was mind-blowing. It's like I didn't barely even knew there were that many Telemark skiers in the world, let alone in one place.
Yeah,
like,
true.
You look at a ski rack and you only see tele bindings, and that initial intro night, it's like we could tell they were very welcoming to us. Like, I would love to attend again. And even though there was that language barrier, we had broken French. We could say, "Where's the toilet? 1 beer, please." But other than that, it was like that common bond of tele. It was like we were all there for the same reason, to celebrate the end of the season and another good winter. And we ended up getting amazing conditions, so the celebration was easier.
Well, about those conditions, I remember me and Mattson packed the super light volet skis, thinking it was going to be spring conditions the whole time, and
Corn skiing. Yeah,
Taylor had to bring the big 801s. Because he's like, I'm bringing the big dogs, and it worked out perfect. So
that's true.
Todd pressed up the 801s, 6 months before release. I could not take the Proto POW skis.
Yeah, that was
so maybe those brought the snow from the 801.
That's funny. Yeah, so for sure. I totally forgot about that you were the only one that took like powder skis. That's so funny.
Well, I think it was a bad winter in the Alps that year, and
no, it was.
we kind of expected
it was.
And
we just lucked out.
Spring slush.
It literally snowed before we arrived at both places. Like, it was
we
insane.
skied Bluebird POW in the biggest mountains I'd ever seen. 3 places in a row.
Yeah, I forgot about. Yeah, so I mean, yeah, that was kind of. I like that we've already gotten all of this, and like literally that most of this stuff is happening while we're looking across this like little frozen lake to the Toof, which is like this zone, and then we're meeting all these people, and we're kind of getting the whole lowdown on the history of this place. And I mean, from the get-go, like, we basically, you pay your fee for this festival, and then that's it. Everything's taken care of in terms of,
it's super affordable too.
Yeah,
relatively.
Yeah, for sure. And because like we were talking about, that multi-use space becomes like the party space where everyone goes back to in the evenings. And that ended up being like this zone where, there's like, we'll get to it eventually.
Where the boxed wine flows like water.
The
stage with all the.
Oh my God.
Yeah, let's not jump too far ahead.
Yeah, let's not jump to the night yet. The night was fun, but the day was one of probably the sickest. that first day after the check-in night, it's probably one of the sickest ski days of all of our lives. Had to be.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Al, take us from there.
So, we went out with Aurora. And she's a photographer. She takes us up. We get up to the top. We take the it's like a subway train that goes through the mountain. Yeah, the funicular. Yeah, that's it.
It's like a tube in the mountain, and it's on a train. And next thing you know, we're flying, 5 minutes, and we're up like 6,000 vert in this train.
And it's
just hauling.
fresh pow. We get up to the top, fresh pow. We ski some untouched stuff. There's no trees, nothing. It's wide open, like Taylor was saying. And who was all there? It was Mikkel,
Seb Meyer.
Seb, you, Taylor, Aurora. I don't think Pierre was there. But anyway, we do a little skin. It's like in the resort, but not kind of side country. The Alps are, if you're not on piste, you're in the side country. But anyway, I had dropped into this little choke and I saw it propagate behind me and just straight lined it out. And when I got down and looked back, I had caused a little slide and it was all okay. But Taylor came down and he was all, like, damn, like you caused a slide. And like, anyway, it all worked out. We got some of the best pictures of our lives that day, best views of our lives. Just a good day all around,
You showed everybody how to blow. What didn't they have like a name for it? How you're blowing up all this like it was like.
Well, they were laughing because we were calling it face shot. Like I think Mikkel he said he called it the.
Oh, great. Bleep that one out. Sorry, everybody. No, I'm just
sorry.
No, but that's what was so funny. It was like you were blowing these awesome turns up for the photo.
You just get low and do a little side push, and the snow is super light, and it just explodes in your face. Isn't that what Telly's all about?
Yeah.
Alex is a simple man. He just needs pow in the face.
It was like the American photo pow turn, but those photos were pretty epic though.
Yeah. It was an amazing day. I mean, I relive it all the time through those photos. So.
Yeah, no, that was pretty amazing. And was that the first day that we skied with Seb?
Yeah.
That was the first day of skiing.
Yeah, that was the first day at all. Yeah, okay. That's right.
First day of skiing, Bluebird Pow. Yeah, and skiing with Seb and Mika, and Seb was by far the strongest, fastest tele skier I'd ever ridden with. Like, just tank of a dude. And, we end up talking. I'm like, bro, you ski so hard. And he said, if you want to take your skiing to the next level, you must lift metal. So that
is that what he said?
Lift metal, like pump iron. But that was kind of the French to English translation of lift metal. And that next winter, I did a lot of preseason training just because I saw Seb, who was just a super strong skier and just ripped these huge turns.
And they have that term, the derby. Like you go fast, you don't turn, you go straight.
I forgot about the derby. I forgot about
Seb's a derby champ.
Yeah.
Rides like 200 centimeter long skis and just sends it.
Was the derby the Mage? La Mage?
Yeah, it's Derby de la Mage and it's in Le Grave.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, Pierre and I were talking about that. I forgot about what that was until you guys just said that. That's funny.
Wasn't there supposed to be a derby at the Black Shoes Festival and it got weathered out the third day? Didn't we miss a race or something like that? Or were we just skiing and drinking wine somewhere?
We might have. I mean, they do a gate. They did a gated race, but I think we were just out skiing, doing whatever.
Yeah, I feel like we might have missed a couple things from just getting out and free skiing. But yeah, all right. So yeah, from there, what's next?
Well, from what I remember, we what did we do?
Yeah, what I remember, that's going to be a key moment.
We already forgot. It's the first day.
So after the most epic day of skiing some of us had ever had, then, we went back to the hotel, debooted, showered up, and then we headed to kind of the first meal, right? Was that kind of the opening dinner?
Yeah. So, I mean, that day there was lunch and we had it was like a gumbo almost, but it was super French style-y. But after all that, we went.
Yeah, well, I think we should talk about the meals for a second because, the meals at the festival were very interesting because basically they were feeding all 500 people out on the deck at the
Oh, yeah.
station at the resort.
Giant pots of
Big.
delicious soup.
As many
With-
baguettes
like
as you
huge
wanted.
pots, like bathtub.
So it was super
Yeah.
cool, a
Pots.
very community style meal, and definitely some of the best food I've ever had while skiing.
I remember they ran out of red wine and only had rosé, so we drank tons of rosé.
That's so funny.
So, yeah, we had a lunch that day, which was awesome. And then when we went to the dinner, so part of I think it was 120 euro for the whole weekend was tickets. It was 2 meals a day and as much wine or beer as we could drink. And we certainly would have gotten our money's worth.
Oh, don't forget the people with the like weed sprayers full of alcohol.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
Yeah, like
everyone's dressed up in costumes too at the Black Shoes. Like, we'll post some photos so you guys can see.
oh,
There's always themes.
the theme. Wasn't it like superhero?
Superhero.
theme?
Oh
Yeah.
yes! Oh my gosh!
I totally forgot about that. They had a theme.
Oh yes.
But yeah, there was like superheroes.
And not just like, so it wasn't just like, oh, everyone's dressed up as Superman or Batman or like your traditional superheroes. They came up with like their very own unique takes on the idea of a superhero. Like it was so funny.
I wish because you're talking about the weed sprayers. Like, so for those of you like what we're talking about, like a garden sprayer that you like have like Roundup in and that you spray. These guys made backpacks out of it, or it was like one that had backpack style straps on it, and then they filled it with alcohol, and they would ski around with it. They'd take it to the parties, and basically you would just like walk up to them, and they would spray it in your mouth, and it was like a shot. You're like, hey, I want a shot of whatever. I'm trying to remember. I'm gonna have to see if
it's Genepi. It's Genepi that's the
Genepi is because that's out of the flowers, I think, though. Like
right.
But
and they would mix a little bit of Genepi and then that other drink that we can't think of the name of, but yeah, man, it was insane. And
so basically day one we've ate amazing food, skied POW, and drank a lot of wine and shots from the superheroes. Is that the?
And let me remind everyone here that the Black Shoes has a motto. Now, I really, really wish I could still say this in French, but so my apologies. But the kind of motto for the Black Shoes Festival, if you have weak legs and weak liver, don't come. So, we skied hard and drank hard. We used our legs and we used our livers.
Yeah, I forgot about that. We're not even going to try.
It's legs and liver of cotton abstained.
Oh, there you
abstain.
go.
Yeah. If you have legs and a liver of cotton, abstain. Don't come.
Yeah.
Which I would say after having gone, that is probably true.
Oh yeah,
they gave us a warning.
True.
That first night, I ended up walking like a mile back to the hotel. Got into the hotel, but couldn't remember what room we were in, so I passed out on a bench, and Taylor showed up at like 3 or 4 in the morning. And,
you just
got me into the room.
6 hours of the night. We got to back up. Like, we didn't talk about the great dinner. We didn't talk about the epic band. We danced until 2 a.m.
We'll go back because I think that wasn't the first night though, was it?
That was the first night.
No, that was the first.
Because I remember waking up and me and Taylor were like, "Let's go ski," and I was just like, "All right, whatever,"
Was the band the first night?
No,
check-in night, sleep, ski,
like
first dinner, and like the cover band.
Yeah.
Oh, that was
That was
next
the
day?
first night?
Like the first
ski day of the festival.
Wow.
It was.
Yeah, like not the first night we got there, like the next.
No, the next night.
First night of the ski day festival.
Yes.
I think you're right because it's ended up being 3 days, right? 2 days total.
3.
Yeah.
Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
Yeah, you're right.
Aperol spritzers at the little restaurant.
Oh yeah.
The runs.
Those were pretty good. The Aperol spritzers. Well, yeah. So let's back up. I mean, the opera party. I mean, here's the thing: Europeans get it done and have a good time. We do pretty good here, but it's like I feel like our opera ski is like bluegrass bands and all this. This was completely different. And honestly, I'll be honest. From all the European festivals I've been to, the French. Well, I guess I shouldn't generalize, but at least Black Shoes. They
know how to après.
They get it done for sure. And I mean, that party was legit. I mean, it was like hundreds of people, and they did. I was looking at some of these pictures. Ashley was talking about the bathtub size, like
just like the hugest pot ever. Like it's not even a pot.
It's like a cauldron.
Yeah,
it's a cauldron. Yeah,
they had like a.
It's like a mini hot tub. Like you could fit like 3 humans in it. Like
yeah, and it was like,
big.
and it was like all these dudes like with like a stick. Remember, kind of like stirring it and stuff.
Yeah. If you have a big pot, you got to have a big spoon. Like, yeah.
But everybody ate, and they had like some vendor tents in there. And you remember? So this was a fun person we met while we were there. Was Alban Mao, and this is a fun one because he has a speed record.
We broke it right before we went to the trip, didn't we?
Yeah, he broke the speed record. Like, how fast did he go? It was I can't even remember, 170 something, or I don't even know. Alban, if you're listening,
I think it was about 170K.
Yeah,
it was.
It ended up being like 120 mile per hour.
And he had
real fast.
And he had Majos. Remember? He had the Majo binding on like 220
race skis
with the speed suit and the crazy helmet where you just go straight. Yeah, that was pretty wild. And then they had some vendor tents, because I remember the vendor tent specifically because there was a guy there that had these leg braces to help you not fatigue your legs, and you guys had me strap them on.
Ski Mojo.
Oh my gosh. I remember that.
Is that what it's called? Ski Mojo?
Oh yeah,
I think so.
Madsen broke it.
Yeah, you remember? You guys were like, check it out, and I'm like, yeah, I'll flex it, and I broke it.
Just for the record, I looked it up on telemarkskier.com. 187 kilometers, 116.2 miles per hour. So Alban was cruising.
That's insane.
Fastest telemark skier on the planet.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, no, that is so crazy. I can't even believe that. But we met so many cool people there. Like, everyone was just rad. And then so the party started that night, and it was legit, like, cover band. Ashley, you would remember. Tell us a little bit about the music.
Oh, we had a riot.
Oh my gosh.
Tell me. Well, do you remember any of the songs they played? Because I feel like it was like.
Oh yeah, like all the 70s classics, like Brick House.
Brick House? What is Brick House?
What's Brick House?
And the cover band was good, and they sang a lot of these American classics with. Well, the cover band was good, and they just sang it with a French accent, so it was fun.
People got down though, like that was the thing.
Oh yeah,
dude. See, that's the funny thing is like,
no, they loved it. Like they loved it. They could not get enough of it. And I was just like, just play something from the '80s. Like play something from the '80s, which they did a few songs.
But the cool part was,
I don't know if Ash wants to be a critic. Alex and I were like dancing with the
you
French
guys were
people.
just
We
like,
were loving
you
it.
did not care.
Okay,
I was like, half the time I was like, yeah, and then after I was like, I hate this song.
I just remember. I remember me and Madsen watching Taylor have the best time of his life.
I had right.
Oh, I forgot about this.
Fun.
Oh my gosh.
I forgot about that.
Totally forgot about that.
Me too.
It was so funny, man. Taylor, you're the man. You were killing it that night. You were on it.
Dude.
Sometimes you just gotta dance.
Come on. what that you're at a dance party. That's what you do.
When in France, you gotta dance.
Oh, there you go.
We danced in France till about 2 a.m. I think the cover band stopped, and then
I was gonna point out. I was gonna point out
that somehow I went back to the room. I think at this point, and I'm not.
Yeah, you did.
I don't remember why.
It's 2 a.m.
You guys are all lucky that I did.
I just want to, and
I'm still bitter, just in case anybody was wondering.
So
I just want to remind you that the sprayer guys were also continuing continuing to spray shots in people's mouths the entire night.
Oh, it was
while
they had
the
a big
band
tank on their back.
Yeah, while the band was playing, that continued the entire time. So
I just feel like we could stop here, and if anyone listening to this is not convinced that they must immediately book a trip to go to Black Shoes, then I don't know what's wrong with you.
yeah, it's pretty unique and wild. So
after the cover band, plays their last song of the night, they probably did an encore, and then, we're wrapping it up, leaving the event space, and we walk outside, and part of French culture is, there's a lot of people that smoke cigarettes. So we're hanging out outside of the, venue, just talking, chatting. And, next thing I know, Josh comes walking over with 2 cigarettes in his hand. And, when in France. So that was a first to me while we're walking to the invitation to the Blue Girl nightclub. So our night wasn't over. At this point, Alex and Ashley had gone back to the hotel, but Josh and I were going to the Blue Girl.
And Tay and I are walking up the street.
Why did I not know that this was the thing?
I don't.
Of all of the people currently in this conversation, who would enjoy going to a nightclub when drunk? That was me. And yet somehow I'm the only one that didn't end up there.
The funny part about it is, like, when it really comes down to it, Taylor and I walked out onto the road.
I don't really, like, someone just
it wasn't that far.
There?
It was we were gonna walk.
We were gonna walk.
It was pretty far.
Allegedly,
someone just like picked
stuck
you
my
up.
thumb out. I did.
I remember walking through a tunnel, ending up at the hotel, and like getting in because I remembered the code, but not remembering what room. So I just laid down in like the front lobby, and then Taylor walking in at like 4 a.m, like, dude, what are you doing? Just laughing because I'm just laying there.
Well, yeah, and Josh and I are at the Blue Girl, and it comes around about 4 a.m. I gotta call it a night. Like, I'm done for it's 4 a.m. Josh, I'm going back to the hotel. All right, bro. I'm still feeling it.
Old man
so
Madison
Josh is still at the Blue Girl. I leave at 4 a.m. Get to the hotel door, and the door's locked. And I'm like, the door's locked. So I have about 2% battery, and I call Ashley. Like, bless her heart, she took care of me at this moment. She actually answers at 4 a.m. I'm like, what's the code to get in the hotel? 2891 or whatever it was.
I can literally picture myself like in the bed, in the room, on this call.
Like, I'm sure I sounded terrible, but 2891. I opened the door, and sure enough, there's old
Alex.
Telly Roots just sleeping in the lobby on a couch, and I'm like, bro, wake up! Like, let's go to the room. Whoa! I didn't know it was open. I was like, Ash is in the room. So at some point, then Josh must have made his way back by himself, and we all woke up about noon probably that day.
Oh, actually,
I remember.
That's why we missed the race. I'm pretty sure.
Oh,
yeah, we missed breakfast, and me and Taylor were like Josh and Ashley, you guys had emails or something to deal with. Me and Taylor, like, all right, let's go. So me and Taylor walk out. We find a lift, get on just some random lift. We don't know where it goes.
And it's about lunchtime, so we're looking for Black Shoes Day 2 festival lunch.
And we get off this lift, and we're like, all right, I think it's down here. So we take a left, and next thing we know, we're on top of this fucking gnarly face. We're like, all right, well, let's go. And skied it, and then we're all hungover and whatever, and made it to the lunch. And eventually Josh and Ashley found us, and then we went and skied the Tooths.
Well, and I want to point out really quick too, is
at this lunch something important happened.
Well, yeah, before that, congratulations to Ashley, who is a beginner skier and on tellies, and she shows up in the Alps, and we're trying to like navigate around. So I just want to give you...
and like, why did I go with you guys on anything? I will never forget. I'll never forget like whatever run we came down. It was the steepest, in my mind, it was the steepest thing I can even imagine. And when I actually like, somehow I survived, like somehow I got down. And then I turned and tried to like I'm like, I need to show everybody how crazy this was. And I go to like take a photo of it, and it just looks pathetic. Like,
not even steep.
It doesn't look impressive at all. Like in the, I mean, that's like a lot of things in photos, right? Like take a photo of a sunset, like take, whatever. It doesn't look quite the same. And that was this run. I was just like,
That
wow,
was-
well, cool. No one will believe me. Like, no one cares. No, I can't.
Ashley,
Hey, you pushed yourself and made it down. Like, I respect that.
That
we
was-
did as well.
that was your
terrifying.
tooth. That was your tooth, Ashley.
It was.
That was your tooth. But we get down, and I remember because we get down to that lunch and we find you guys and everyone's there. Our buddy Jeep and Christian, all those guys, everybody was there, and it was packed. And they had all the lunch prepared for us. It was
Oysters.
yeah, I don't even remember. It was some sort of sandwich.
That was oysters.
Was it oysters?
That was the oysters day. Yeah.
Oysters? Was I there?
There was a
I
couple
love
things on the
oysters, and
menu.
I now remember that.
There was a couple things on the menu, but as many baguettes as we wanted, and
Tay might want to.
Pockets.
Tay, I know you were leading us into, so like this is just so you guys know, this portion of the Black Shoes is an incredibly important cultural event of the festival, and it happens every year, and it's pretty wild. Tay, why don't you explain to us what happens at this point?
Well, La Prête leads us through a worship. So La Prête is the priest in French, and next thing we know, we hear church bells ringing, and these guys dressed up in full, like Catholic church garb, and they start giving a worship service to, La Font, the Telemark turn, and it's all in French, and this guy's very comedic about it, but everybody is worshiping along with it.
Like everyone's
this
chanting.
Guy says, everyone's chanting, and
Just
we're
looking
going through
around.
this whole service, and this guy is probably like 3 bottles of wine deep while he's giving his sermon, and at one, I guess, I don't know, maybe Josh has a better explanation of this, but we had someone nearby translating the service for us, and it was super funny, but it was basically like, Telemark is good, don't alpine ski, don't snowboard, but definitely like do not ride snowblades. Like,
Oh yeah,
not
that's
like
so funny.
snowblades.
Fuck the snowblade. That's what he kept saying.
Oh yeah.
Quote. Sorry.
But that's what. So if you imagine,
So passionate.
we're at this like little lodge, not even a lodge, kind of like a little luncheon area with a patio, and it's kind of off the side of the run, and there's like a little hill above the patio, and there's hundreds of people here watching this, and Laprette's dressed in like a white robe and a hat, and there's like, yeah, it was kind of like this,
I mean, very much full Catholic outfits.
yeah, totally, yeah, and it was just it was pretty epic, but and I guess the history of that, it sounds like they kind of we're gonna have to do like a French translation of this to get like all of the deal. I think someone was telling us, I think it was Jeep or one of those guys was saying how one year they actually the Laprette had gotten so inebriated that he was like standing in the water. Do you remember this story where he was like,
Yeah, I do.
He was trying to walk on water, I think.
Yeah, he was trying to walk on water, but
Of course.
but he like fell into the water and was like needed some assistance to pull him up.
Oh yeah.
But I think back then they said too,
Yeah.
like when you showed up to that initial sign up for the festival, they actually gave every participant their own bottle of wine. And
Yeah.
they'd kind of done away with that because people had gotten a little too crazy and out of hand. So
Oh man.
that was pretty
So
epic
much
though.
wine.
Yeah, but so, Laprette gives his sermon, and, we all worship with him to Telemark, and then, it's a nice kind of spring ski day in the Alps, and the snow's starting to slush up, and, today was the second day was definitely more of a cruiser day in the sense of we were all at about half energy levels and just wanted to have fun, and the snow wasn't powder like the day before, so we didn't have to get after it so much. But we found a group of, a couple other of our friends and Mika and those
Sad.
guys, and we went up to ski the tooth, which was one of those first big couloirs that we saw. And so we rode up that gondola and, skied down to the entrance of it. And we had probably a group of like 8 or 10, and, a couple guys are skiing, tossing a rugby ball. Some guys are dressed up as superheroes on race skis with no poles and a utility belt with different flasks and bottles on it. And they're skiing this couloir on race skis. And, that day I had a baguette I snagged from lunch that I stuffed in my pocket. So I had a little pocket baguette and had
As one should.
baguette before I dropped into the tooth. And, it was a nice tight little line, pretty steep, and had a good little choke section. And we all skied it down and kind of skied down back towards that lake. And, it's super fun to ski a line like that with a wild crew like that.
That was legit too. Like the guy with the rugby ball, like no poles. That was crazy. Because how steep do you guys think that was? There was a couple sections that were pretty legit.
It was really steep, probably 40, maybe 43.
Yeah.
I remember there was a super tight choke, and I couldn't drop knee in it, and I skied down, and then we watched Tay come down, and Tay tellied every single turn down that, and that was when I was like,
They don't call him
damn.
Telly Tay for nothing.
Yeah, that's
Dude,
right.
that was probably one of the best lines, and hop turn right through the choke of my season right there.
Yeah,
Like,
that was so cool, man.
So sick.
That's so funny. Yeah. That was a good time. That was kind of a good. I think we skied the day after too, didn't we?
Yeah,
Was that-
so
Yeah,
was
we
that-
did.
I mean, did we party the second night? Like, there had to be
We partied,
make
but we
it the
called it a
second
little earlier.
like midnight or something.
No hitchhiking
Yeah.
to the nightclub.
Yeah. I think we chilled out that
there
next night.
another band or a DJ that night, or
I don't remember.
Or something like that,
There
like a
definitely wasn't
DJ
another
or-
band. I don't think so.
It wasn't a band. It was like a DJ or something, and then everyone was kind of like,
Yeah, I'm
"Ugh."
sure.
night
Yeah.
2 wasn't as epic as night 1, just because it couldn't be. But and then it stormed in and got socked in, and we kind of skied like the first day
Oh,
of
yeah.
full Alps,
That's
like
right.
vertigo wide out, because we're at whatever how many 3,000 meters, 4,000 meters, and we're all above tree line, and
Yeah, that was
you know,
hard
the
to see.
visibility is bad. We couldn't see anything, and it was like we tried to keep it between the bamboo and ski, the POW on the piste, but we didn't make too many laps that day, I don't think.
No.
Yeah, I think, and that was kind of, I think, that's kind of fun to recount that, you guys, because that honestly, that was like, there was a lot going on in like the matter of 3 days. I mean, from the time we got there,
A
lot, and it was just,
Oh yeah,
I don't know, and I think, I think what strikes me too is like, it's fun kind of going back and trying to remember, like, we didn't know what we were even going to get into, and
no, I had no expectations, and seriously, just my mind was blown, and like my perspective on life was altered. Like that was seriously, like that sounds like iffy, but
You can never go back.
very much a life-changing pivotal moment. Like I'm always going to remember that trip.
yeah.
And,
Oh, yeah.
After 3 days in Teen and experiencing the Black Shoes, like we weren't done. We were driving to Chamonix the next day.
Yeah. I think we don't have to go too deep, but I think it'd be fun to kind of cap that off, because if you're thinking, one, thanks to the Black Shoes, we love you guys, and
We will be back.
yeah,
Yes.
and respect and love to Kanar, his family, his friends. We're so glad that he started the Black Shoes and kept it going, and yeah, I think we all can't wait to get back. But
I mean, might as well just say we were considering going this year, but I guess
yeah,
Black Shoes will never
it didn't work
die.
out in a few different ways. So
no, totally. Well, and I think, and so part of what was fun about this trip, and again, thanks to Pierre, because he kind of linked up this tour for us where
totally.
we went Black Shoes, And then we hop in the car. Thank God we had Pierre driving us around because
Dude,
Driving
made the trip
and
so
speaking
much
French.
easier.
we would have been a wreck. I mean, so like we hop in the car with Pierre, we leave Teen, and there's some funny photos because I'm pretty. All of us are like crashed out in the back of this car, and he's like driving us around to the next
Yeah,
spot.
I'm in the front seat, not crashed out.
Yeah, and we were all sitting
Taking all of these photos.
Oh yeah, it was like
Listening-
I was
listening
sitting
to,
in the
like, the
middle, and
National
I got
or something with
Alex's, Alex's shoulders
Yes.
or head on my shoulders, and my head on Josh's shoulders, just conked out 3-way.
You're welcome.
That's so funny. And so the next stop is we go to Chamonix, which for anyone that's a skier in America, like you've heard of Chamonix, and it's this epic extreme skiing area. And we get there, and it's like the end of the season. I mean, it was like I looked up the dates. I think we got there like May 3. So that was pretty wild. And the whole town's kind of dead. We get this little apartment. Actually, I forgot, but
It had a beautiful view, though.
It did have a beautiful view, and we met Seb Mayer followed us there, and that's where we met Peter. From
Peter was at Black Shoes. Peter was at Black Shoes.
Peter,
We had met Peter.
Oh, we met Peter, but Peter lived in Chamonix.
But then,
Yeah,
That's right.
Rabbit on the roof.
But then we went and saw, went and saw his place that got burned down.
That had burned down his shop.
That's right. So Rabbit on the Roof skis. If you haven't heard of it, look it up. It's amazing. Peter is expat. I think he grew up in LA, if I remember right. And
San Francisco.
San Francisco. There you go.
He's a Chaminade now, though. He's very, very.
He's my idol. He's an artist. He builds beautiful skis. Lives in a gypsy wagon. Hippie kind of guy. Just he's the man.
Yeah, and that was pretty awesome because I totally forgot we got. I guess I just remembered me like hanging out with him in Chamonix more than I do. At
That was more intimate because we kind of had a down day in Chamonix when the weather was bad, and so we just chilled. And the Chamonix Valley is probably at 1,500 meters, and the peaks of the Aiguille du Midi are over almost 4. So it's like, there's this little city and this little town, and this valley just rises so steep up to the Alpine. And so that second day, we got lucky again with another storm and had another bluebird day. And we go up the Aiguille du Midi tram, and it's like the steepest tram we've ever been on. And you get off.
Just in case anyone was wondering, I'm sure you all were. I am in the hotel at this time.
Yeah, we didn't.
I positively did not go anywhere near the Aiguille du Midi.
I just remember
we get on that tram and
enjoy the beautiful view from the balcony, and it was lovely. And I highly recommend Chamonix. It is a charming little town.
Yeah, you were probably stoked to get rid of us.
I just remember having to put a harness on to go skiing.
Oh yeah. Do you remember we went and rented harnesses? I I forgot about that. Yeah. There was a sweet
concept.
Yep, did not go.
That was pretty funny.
That's a tap next to the waxing table, but
yeah. Yeah.
Anyway, so we're riding up this tram, and I'm looking around. I'm the only guy without a rope in this tram and an ice axe, and I thought, where are we going? What are we getting ourselves into? And when we get to the mid station, you can see that first north face of the Aiguille du Midi, and just the biggest, gnarliest, most cliffed out and iced out face you've ever seen. And there's not even a clean line down. And it was just impressive to see that these guys were skiing down this, Chamonix style with, rappelling across big cliffs and into the next couloir, and in a no-fall zone the whole time. And we mostly took the tourist line, but just to look at that and to imagine dropping that north face was insane. And
that walk down, honestly, dude, like I said that to Pierre earlier today. I was like, that was pretty spicy little walk, dude.
Even with the ropes.
Yeah, with the ropes and everything. I was still
you get off at the top station of the Aiguille du Midi, and they kind of have a little museum in there of all these mountaineers that have passed, and you start boot packing down this ridgeline where you have 3,000 vert of no fall zone on your left, and certain depth, and then you have on your right 1,000 feet of maybe death, like, or a bad day. And so, we're booting down this ridge line, and they do have some ropes up that, we're holding, and we got our skis strapped to our pack. And then Seb Meyer comes over and just clips his skis together with his brakes and over his shoulder. And then, didn't even strap them to the bag. Like, I wanted both my poles and feet for 4-wheel drive on that ridge line. And it was another bluebird powder day. And I think that first drop we had, Peter dropped first, and then I don't know if we rock, paper, scissored or why I got shoved off second, but dropping into fresh tracks May 3rd, in Chamonix on the Valley Blanche was just another surreal day.
Yeah.
We're about to ski literally almost 9,000 vert off one tram, all the way down to that sea of ice.
Yeah, that was pretty amazing. And especially that first section of the Valley Blanche was like still cold and like pretty soft, it hadn't thickened up yet, like kind of towards the end. I think we hit it just right. So, and then
because
you go ahead, man.
Well, we skied cold powder for the top half, and then we pulled into the refuge. And I'll let Josh take the story of the refuge.
Yeah, I was just gonna say that too, because I was thinking, like, I mean, if you get the chance to go ski the Valley Blanche, like, it's 100% worth it, and it's definitely one of the most unique experiences I've had in terms of just like long vertical, but it's not like, I don't know, the whole experience was just so cool because you're skiing such a long way, but it's kind of like,
it wasn't super gnar.
No, it wasn't really too crazy, obviously.
I mean, there's definitely a route down so you don't fall into a crevasse or anything. But yeah, I mean, we had guides, like local guides that, by that I mean Peter and Seb.
Yeah.
Yeah. But, we knew that anywhere we looked, you could get as gnarly as you wanted. Like, and there were people that ski those lines and, hike those huge couloirs and ski the 50-degree faces.
Yeah. And that was just so cool just to be able to kind of cruise down, and eventually you kind of meander your way through all these different fields and little smaller pitches. And then we end up at the refuge, which I believe was the guy's name Remy.
I can't remember.
I feel like it's Remy. I'll have to look it up.
He had his kid there. So little 3-year-old.
So we're literally in the middle of the Alpine on the Valley Blanche, and then there's this like refuge.
The Refuge du Requin.
Yeah, it's Refuge of the Shark. Requin is shark.
Oh, is that what it was?
Requin. Yeah. Du Requin.
Oh, okay. Yeah, and so we show up and we're gonna grab some beers, and this guy lives up in the mountains with his family, and it turns out he's a Telemark skier, and I remember that because like we started talking to him, and he's a tele skier too, and that was just super rad. And so we sit out. There's kind of like a little patio area, and I mean, I still, whenever I look at those pictures, it's amazing because there's like that. Remember, there's that glacial ice field behind it, and
there's a huge glacier that's coming down the glacial valley to back to Chamonix Valley, and then this sawtooth ridge line, and we're sitting there drinking a beer. Next thing we know, we see a bunch of snow move, and this avalanche rips down off the top of this glacier and ends up where what did they call that place? The kind of where the avalanche run-out path was. They called it the dining room, maybe?
Something like that, yeah.
Where it was like, it looked like a nice place for lunch, but that's where the mountain eats you.
Oh, yeah. No, that's right. I do remember you talking about, they were saying that, like, there was like someone was picnicking down there. And, that was a wild, man, I've never seen anything like that. And I mean, I think as someone, if you can get a guided tour like down the Valley Blanche, it's 100% worth it in terms of like the skiing. Like we're saying, it's not like this over the top crazy extreme stuff, but you get to be in some pretty epic alpine environments. And even after we left the refuge, like that's the part that always sticks out to me, because remember, like once you kind of start heading down the I think it's the glacial moraine section where there's just like huge walls and you could hear the rocks just constantly.
All the rocks, yeah.
How crazy was that? Like, it's
Yeah,
just,
so, we sat and drank beers for 2 hours, and then, by the time we started skiing down, the snow had got a lot more heat during the day. And, then kind of some cloud cover comes in, and as we're traversing basically the last, how far did we traverse? It felt like we might have traversed a mile even.
Forever.
Across all of this sea of ice, but the whole time it was like the mountains were like applauding us, like, thank you for enjoying the cold powder in the morning, now go home. Like, it's insane to hear all that rock and snow moving. And
yeah, it was pretty epic for sure. And then you kind of ski out, and I think the biggest thing at the Vallée Blanche that I remember at the end, we checked out the ice caves that they had, and then this kind of the saddest part is, remember, like, as you climb the stairs out of the moraine area, it actually shows how the glacial snow level has receded, and it shows the different years. Remember, as you're climbing up the stairs, it kind of had like, hey, this is where the level of snow was at in 1970, 1980, 1990. And it
like when they built there's one last little tram, kind of beer can gondola that pulls us up to where there's a train that takes you back to the valley. Where they originally built the bottom station of that was, it might have been several hundred steps up that, and they had all these little additions of these metal staircases to get down to the snow level.
Yeah,
the ice level.
That was pretty crazy to see for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, well, cool. I don't know, Ash, what were you doing?
Oh, just chilling. Honestly, like, I don't remember. I think I literally was just hanging out. Like,
yeah.
Wi-Fi, like, I don't know.
I remember when we got back, it was really hard to find anything in Chamonix to do, because I remember I wanted to get a Black Shoes tattoo, and there wasn't even like a...
Yeah, most of the stuff was closed. It was just
everything
like
was
a few
closed,
restaurants.
It was the off season.
And that was it.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And then, do we want to get into the third part of this whole
I think we might actually do a separate one, dude, because that I feel like that's like almost another.
Well, different country, different place.
We're gonna do
Telemark
only.
I've got my token, like, non-ski related story, because I'm not you guys. So my experience at all these festivals is just like a little bit different.
Yeah, but I think is cool, and I think that's the thing, is that there really is something for everyone. If you want to go to one of these festivals, you have the ability to go ski some crazy stuff. You have people that want to just hang out and ski mellow stuff. You've got people that want to hang out and have some wine. Like, I think that's the coolest part, is just like, there's such a cool culture around these festivals in Europe that if you have the resources, I know everybody doesn't, but if you can save up and go on one of these things, especially Black Shoes, there's some phenomenal people. And, I think that the Telemark community and the language, like, it's there's always these open arms, and I think that's what was the coolest part about us going to this whole thing and getting to know some new friends over there. So it's cool.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree, Josh. The Telemark, we talk about community a lot, but that was certainly true. And although the trip could be expensive, it was certainly worth every penny in my eyes, and love to go back again. And I guess we might as well tease for the third part of this trip, maybe next week's episode of then, we hopped in the road and went down to another Telemark festival. So we kind of really made the best of 2 weeks, hitting the Black Shoes, skiing Chamonix, and Telemark only.
Yeah, that was pretty rad. Well, what, Al, you got anything else you want to add to it?
Just super grateful that I was able to be a part of that experience. Definitely a life-changing trip in general, and couldn't have been with better people.
Yeah, man, I loved being there with you guys. We had a lot of fun. And what about you, Ash? You got anything else you want to add before we check out on this one?
Pretty much just the same, like, especially as someone that has like a little less history and whatnot. Like, everyone was super cool. I'm grateful to be a part of Freeheel Life and contribute what I do. But yeah, it was just like so fun. Everyone was cool. Everyone was nice. Like, everyone was so welcoming. to all of us, and I super appreciate that and definitely want to go back.
Yeah. Well, I know when I talked to Pierre today, he said he was hinting at it that we need to go back. So we might have to
Nice. Yes,
make
Pierre.
it a reality.
Thank you, Pierre.
Well,
Pierre,
I'm I'm definitely going back, and I'm bringing the whole fam. Gotta bring little
yes.
Genevieve. So
I was just gonna say, you've got your daughter's name is super French, so you got LeBlanc and Genevieve and everything else.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's obviously meant to
styling.
be. It must happen.
right.
I love it.
So
Well, much love to you guys. I'm glad we got to do this. It's kind of fun reminiscing a little bit about it. I can't believe it's already been 3 years since we went to that. So it's
Crazy. Yeah. Thanks for catching up, everybody. Good to talk to you.
Yes.
Yep.
Hopefully we can
Love
do
all
one of
you
these in
guys.
person sooner than later.
All right.
for sure. And all of our Black Shoes family, all of our European Telemark family, we love you guys. We can't wait to get back. And we'll definitely do a little catch up at some point on the Telemark Only Festival. I know I've said it before. We'll probably try to have Paul Fluke on here and talk about his, because that's a whole another ball of wax. And
one weekend later and a whole different telemark experience.
completely different.
Yep.
But so if hopefully you guys enjoyed. Thanks for sticking with us and listening to the podcast, and just kind of letting us flow on a little reminiscent trip of going to Europe.
Hopefully you were at least entertained and possibly a little intrigued.
Yeah, we tried to keep it. That was pretty PG, so that was good.
Hopefully we piqued your interest.
That was good.
Yeah, that was a fairly PG conversation for a weekend of debauchery.
We tried to make it sound all super kosher, and
We had a good time.
I love it. Well, for those of you listen out there, if you want to support us, you can always support the content we're making by making a donation to paypal.me/freeheellife. You can always buy stuff from the shop. Check out freeheellife.com. We've still got some stuff left from this past season. Kind of once it's gone, we'll clear it out and restock it. Getting into April and or I'm not April, August and
Like
September.
what?
You're like, dude, what are you talking about? Towards the end of summer, and you can check it out there. Articles, reviews, telemarksgear.com. Check out the YouTube channel. Lots of fun stuff on there. And you can always email podcast@freeheellife.com. And thanks for listening, everybody. Please take a second, rate and review us on Apple Podcasts. And until next week, spread Telemark always.
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 Flip side.
cheers.
Woo!
Bye.
Later.
Good job, you guys.